So we're sitting here with Naila Kiani, who I'm going to introduce in a moment. And she's too modest to explain all of her achievements, but she is the leading Pakistani mountaineer, and she's had an incredible season this year that isn't even over yet. So I'm going to ask Naila a few questions about what she's been doing, and more importantly, why she's been doing it, and what is her vision for the future. And Naila is, we're very proud to say, the ambassador of our Ascend program in Pakistan. So Naila Kiani, welcome.
Thank you so much.
So I'm going to ask you first to run down what you've been doing this year. And you've climbed 8,000ers. So which ones are they? And some came last year. So can you just give us the achievements quickly?
So I started climbing 2 years ago. I started with Gasherbrum 2, my very first peak 2 years ago. Then last year I climbed K2 and Gasherbrum 1. Mm-hmm. And I had no plan to climb this many peaks this year, but it's just happened. It all happened unplanned. I climbed Annapurna, Everest and Lhotse in Nepal in spring. And then I climbed Nanga Parbat and Broad Peak this year. So I climbed 5 8,000ers this year.
So how did that feel when you made it on Everest and you knew that you were the first?
When I called my expedition leader from the summit, he said, "Congratulations." I mean, I knew I was the first one, but I didn't think it was a big deal. I was just happy to be at the top. Yeah. He said, "Congratulations, you're the first international climber to reach the top of Everest this year." Mm-hmm. So I was quite pleased about that.
Amazing. You're sitting here with me. We met. I immediately thought that we share a common vision for using mountaineering as a platform to empower girls and women. Can you tell me, like, why did you think so? What is it about Ascend's mission to empower girls through climbing that speaks to you?
So when I started climbing, I just wanted to experience mountaineering, experience what it is like to climb a mountain. Mm-hmm. And I was doing it just for myself because I was passionate about mountains. I wanted to try climbing, and I was competitive, so I wanted to experience what my body and mind will go through. So first 2-3 mountains, I purely did them for me, but I just started getting a lot of messages. But what really touched me were the messages from female that they were getting inspired by my story. So I never thought my story was inspiring. But when they saw that a woman just like them, I mean, I grew up in a middle-class family. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I worked really hard to get where I am. But when women saw that a normal girl just like them, a married woman with 2 kids, 2 very small kids, can do all of this, and mountaineering is considered to be, I mean, if I can say, the most difficult thing to do in the world. I mean, we have lots of quotes in Urdu that, it's like climbing a mountain. Mm-hmm. So it's considered to be the most difficult sport or thing to do, and very risky sport. So if somebody like me can do it, anybody can do it. When you reach out to me about Ascend, this is exactly what you wanted to do. You wanted to teach girls leadership through sports, through mountaineering, and I wanted to give back because I got everything that I have now in 2 years. I even got an award from government of Pakistan. So I don't think it just happened without any reason. I think there's a reason behind it, and I want to give back to girls.
Mm-hmm. How do you see what we're doing influencing the situation of women and girls in this country and in the region as well? How do you see climbing playing a role in that?
So what you're doing, what Ascend is doing, is bringing in highly qualified international master trainers, and actually not just training girls, giving them technical skills, but soft skills too. That's why I'm also interested to get the training from Ascend, but this is exactly what we need.
What do you see, again, in mountaineering that's translatable into other parts of girls' lives?
Teamwork, not giving up, not being scared of failing, and determination, perseverance. So there are lots and lots of, I mean, I can name so many different attributes.
So you just spent a few days with our team in Skardu. And how did the girls there relate to you? What was your conversation with them like? They're just beginning their journey of becoming climbers and becoming leaders through this program. So how was that experience?
They're actually amazing girls. They are very strong-headed. And I was so happy to see them grow also because they told me a few. They gave a few examples of trips they had and things they learned from the trainers. I mean, they recently came back from a trek, and then they showed me pictures. I was very surprised. They had the biggest backpacks, and they were so proud. They saw other groups who had 7 people had 20 porters. So they gave me lots of examples where they learned so much, but they were happy to see me because they could connect with me. They just thought I was just like them, and I'm sure they know that they can achieve what I've achieved in the last couple of years if they work hard.
In terms of growing up in Pakistan and facing certain challenges as you wanted to pursue your own passions that wasn't necessarily conventional, can you share a little bit about where you come from and what that pathway was like?
So I am from Rawalpindi, and Rawalpindi and Islamabad are twin cities. I'm not from mountains. I have no connection to mountaineers, or nobody in my family had any interest in mountaineering. But I grew up, I wanted to be a space scientist. So I ended up studying aerospace engineering. I worked in engineering for a little bit, moved into banking. But I loved sports since I was young. So until I was 17, I actually didn't, I studied abroad. So I moved outside of Pakistan when I was 17, but I didn't get to experience any sports when I was growing up here because there were no opportunities for women that time. And when I was studying abroad, I started boxing, and I really enjoyed boxing. I competed as a boxer too, as an amateur boxer, and got married, had kids, and then I never thought that after having kids, I'd be climbing.
What did you have to fight battles? Like a lot of the girls have struggles with people in their families or in their communities that are not enthused about this choice. Did you face any of those?
Absolutely. My dad was very conservative and very strict when I grew up. I wasn't allowed to leave home alone until I was 17. I even did my trek after getting married. I climbed my first mountain after having kids, but I didn't announce it because I was worried about what will people say and what will my distant family relatives will say, because it's not considered something very culturally appropriate, or wasn't considered. 2 years ago, when I climbed my first peak, I was invited by the president of Pakistan to accept an award, and he took it from president. He was the proudest dad in the world, and he still is, and he can't stop talking about me. He goes to his dentist, talks about me. He goes to his GP and talks about me.
Wow, amazing. The mountaineering community in Pakistan, there's so much happening this year, last year. What is your vision for how that moves forward? There's a lot of discussion about ethics in the climbing community and how the sport can actually be responsibly followed. Any thoughts on that?
Speaking very honestly, it's not just in Pakistan actually. I saw it in foreign mountaineering communities too. But there's a lot of divide, a regional divide. And that needs to end, and how we can end it by like how you're training girls, that you're not just giving them technical skills, you're making them leaders, and your teamwork is very important from what I saw. So I think that's how we can change it, by educating the new mountaineers. We may not be able to change the older generation, but definitely new generation needs education and ethical mountaineering knowledge.
So this generation of mountaineers now is also growing up at a time, coming into the sport at a time where climate change is so obviously happening, and particularly in this country where you have these fabulous mountains, but huge impacts of climate change being felt. What do mountaineers need to be doing to play a role in climate change?
So I think mountaineers see the difference very quickly when we're in the mountains. If I'll give you an example, I've been going to K2 area for the last 3 years. So K2 base camp is on glacier. And last year we had really beautiful ice on the glacier, and this year it was actually more than half of it was melted. more than half. And I was shocked because I thought maybe that change will happen slowly. I heard about climate change. I know what it was doing. 2 years ago, when somebody asked me a question, I honestly couldn't see the obvious difference. But in the last year, it was very obvious.
So Ascend program has 5 pillars, and I'm assuming the most exciting one for you is mountaineering and rock climbing, or is there some other part of the program that you're more fired up about?
So it has to be leadership because Ascend's doing great work to train the girls, and technical skills are important. But one thing that we lack here, that girls are not trained. I mean, people in general are not trained when we grow up to be good leaders. So that's something I'm really excited about. And actually, I saw the girls. I mean, they already have great leadership skills, but that's one thing I'm really excited about.
Good. So I'm thinking about the future too. We're excited, obviously, to have you come back to Skardu and spend more time with the team. So we're just starting here in Gilgit-Baltistan. But do you think this program has appeal beyond these mountain communities? Do you think it will be something that we can spread across Pakistan and other places?
100%, because what I notice, the girls girls we have now, they are mostly from Skardu, and one girl is from Gilgit side. And I had a lot of queries when we started the Ascend program from girls from other parts of Pakistan.
For you personally, what's next? What does your schedule hold in the next year? And I don't think you're done climbing mountains.
No. So I never planned to climb all 14, but like I said, this year has been crazy. I made my plan last minute. So I am planning to climb more 8,000ers, depending on what type of support I can get and when. So I want to be trained by Ascend trainers, and also I want to spend, as part of that, I want to spend time with the girls too.
We can't wait to have you. It'll be great. So we'll close with, I want to ask you a couple of mountaineering questions back to all of the experiences you've had just over the last 2 years. What was the single best moment for you in your climbing career so far? Is there one single moment you could point to?
One single moment has to be Nanga Parbat, because I was, when I climbed my first peak, I was super slow, and then over the last couple of years, I've been an average climber. I mean, speed doesn't matter, but it's just the confidence I had on Nanga Parbat. I felt more skilled. I was more confident. Even the people who saw me climbing in the last couple of years, they saw that there was a massive difference in my performance. So I'm very pleased about that.
Great. Any message you would like to say to anybody watching this, girls who might be interested in climbing, people from around the world that haven't heard of you until today? Why do you think what you're involved in why does it matter? What is the impact that you're hoping to have?
So like I said, I personally want to give back, because I don't think, I said it a few times before, that I don't think God gave me everything so quick without a purpose. So I'm trying to find that purpose fully, but I think what I'm doing with Ascend is one of the reasons why I was blessed. And so I hope, and I believe Ascend will get a lot of support, including financial support, because I saw the difference it's making to the girls' life. I saw the spark in their eye and the hope they had from Ascend program.
So congratulations on everything you've achieved. And yeah, we like to say that when women in mountains meet, wonderful things happen. So can't wait to see you in the mountains again soon.
Thank you.
So for more information about Ascend's programs, about Naila's achievements, and about how our girls are doing, please visit our website, ascendathletics.org, and follow us on social media. We put regular updates of the fabulous mountains in Gilgit-Baltistan. And we need support. This is an entirely privately funded nonprofit, so please share our messages.